The UN agency leading the world's response to HIV and AIDS is making an urgent call to action. UNAIDS wants a groundbreaking HIV prevention drug to be made available to everyone who needs it. The drug, Lenacapavir, requires just 2 injections a year and has shown remarkable success in trials. But there's a problem. It currently costs each patient more than $40,000 per year. That's far too expensive for most. We'll hear shortly from the executive director of UNAIDS. But first, here's a look at this breakthrough in global health.
It's been hailed as a game changer for HIV prevention. Lenacapavir was approved in 2022 as a treatment for people with HIV. But research and early trials found it to be over 95% effective in preventing infection, putting it in the class of what's known as pre-exposure prophylaxis or PrEP medication. Other approved PrEP drugs are pills that have to be taken every day. But with Lenacapavir, just 1 injection remains effective for 6 months, a major advantage.
With the twice-yearly injectable, we know that participants will be quite excited about it, just purely because the injectable versus the pill, we've seen how adherence is not always the greatest when it comes to the pill, purely because of different reasons, time, ability to go and fetch those pills from the clinics.
Lenacapavir is an antiviral molecule. It works by interfering with the protein capsule that surrounds HIV's genetic code, making it unable to replicate in cells. The scientific breakthrough came from US-based pharmaceutical company Gilead Sciences. The firm controls the drug's production, owns the patent, and has a monopoly on its sale. So organizations like UNAIDS are urging Gilead to make it more widely available and affordable. Currently, in countries where it's approved as an HIV treatment, courses of Lenacapavir cost over $40,000 per patient per year.
Let's get more from Winnie Byanyima, UN Under-Secretary General and Executive Director at UNAIDS. She joins us from the World Economic Forum at Davos. Hello, madam. Welcome to the program. How does it make you feel that a new HIV prevention drug is so expensive that many people that need it cannot afford it?
On the one hand, excited, because this is groundbreaking. This new technology of an injection once every 6 months to prevent HIV infection is truly groundbreaking, just like when we first got the ARVs for treatment. But yes, also worried and having some sleepless nights and working round the clock to make sure that this magical technology, highly effective, finds its way around stigma and discrimination because it's hidden. Once in 6 months, you have what you need and you walk away. If we don't move fast and get it to everyone who needs it, then we could have what happened in 2000, when ARVs were happily being distributed in rich countries, and Africa was waiting for 10 years, and we lost 12 million people waiting for the prices to come down. We don't want that. So I'm here in Davos to talk to the business company, Gilead, asking them to do the right thing, to move fast, to license many companies in the developing countries, low and middle income countries, to make sure that the production is to a level, a scale where the price comes down. Today, Eddie, in the rich countries where they are selling it, like America, this treatment, this prevention treatment costs $40,000, slightly above per person per year. We know that if they were to increase the production by licensing more companies to do generics, it could come down to about $40 per person per year. And that means all countries could afford for their people. So I'm here to push them to do the right thing, put lives before profits.
Right, which is a good thing that you're trying to do. But as you said, you are at Davos, you've been speaking to the people that matter, the companies, world leaders, and other big players. So what response are you getting from them? What exactly are they saying to you?
Well, first of all, in pushing and engaging with Gilead, we've had them move a little because they have now licensed 6 companies, 3 in India, only 1 in Africa, and not South Africa, where we have the highest number of people living with HIV, the highest number of new infections, 150,000 last year, and where we have the strongest capacity for pharmaceutical production. No, first they use public money to develop their products. They use the research that governments invest in their universities. Then they go and they try their products on people in developing countries. In Africa, they tested on South Africa, girls and women in Uganda, in many countries. Those countries are now not even included in getting the medicines. So people help you to get a product, and when you get it, it becomes personal to you, and you don't own it with the people who helped you make it. This is wrong. It's unethical. So that's where we are, that we are still pushing the company, and I believe that pressure works. So we are going to continue engaging. Gilead has made a deal now with WHO, with Global Fund and PEPFAR to produce 2 million of this injectable for this year. But us as UNAIDS know that if we are going to be on the path to ending this disease, we need to produce 10 million. Right. So the difference between 2 and 10 is big, and we are pushing them to license more companies and move fast to produce generics.
But beyond licensing, what other practical steps are needed to bring the price down to, a globally accessible level?
You asked a good question. We need to bring the price down, no? And for that, we need to push for more companies to be licensed. But also, we need to get the companies to partner and collaborate to produce better and better medicines. For example, we know that this once every 6 months would become once a year injection. And that is so important, especially for people who are hiding from stigma and from criminal laws that punish them for who they are. So women are more at risk. Girls, amongst every 7 new infections of adolescents, 6 are girls. Those girls need to have that injection to prevent infection. We also need to get the rich countries that put in money to help countries to fight the disease, to continue doing that. For example, money for fighting the disease for African countries comes mainly from an American program called PEPFAR and from the Global Fund, which is many donor countries, including America again. Those contributions must stay. You cannot respond to a pandemic without a health system where you are investing in building its capacity. So we need that money as well. The donations, and we need the African countries to have the space to invest in their own health systems, the fiscal space. That is also about now reforming the international financial architecture, urgently canceling debt, restructuring the debt so that these African countries who are today paying 7 times more in debt servicing, 5.5 times more in debt servicing than they're investing in health, can now have money to put in health. So there are many levels here of things to do, including supporting African countries to access finance and tax and be able to pay for their people.
Right.